Most dreams disappear before sunrise. They arrive quietly, a train crossing a field of stars, a childhood street beneath summer rain, a voice that almost says something important. For a few brief moments, they remain. Then morning comes, and they are gone. Most people never notice. They wake, stretch, prepare tea or coffee, check messages, open curtains. The dream fades before breakfast. By noon, only fragments remain. A color, a feeling, a distant face. By evening, even those are lost. That was how the world had always worked. Dreams came, dreams went, and nobody questioned where they disappeared. Nobody except the girl, because while others slept, she walked through the city collecting the dreams that had been forgotten. Not all dreams, only the lost ones, the ones left behind, the ones nobody remembered after waking. They drifted through the night like pale lanterns, invisible to almost everyone, small pieces of sleeping minds wandering silently through the darkness. Some floated above apartment rooftops, some settled beside rivers, some became trapped beneath train station benches until somebody came looking for them. Most eventually faded. A few lasted longer, and on rare occasions, a dream remained so vivid that it could survive an entire night on its own. The girl collected those first. Years ago, she had stopped wondering why she could see them. The ability felt no stranger than rain. It simply existed. Each evening, as the city lights awakened and office windows began glowing across Tokyo, she left her small apartment and began her work. She carried no umbrella. The dreams never liked umbrellas. They preferred open skies, even rainy ones, especially rainy ones. Rain seemed to preserve dreams, as if the water slowed their fading. The city looked different during storms. Neon reflections stretched across wet pavement. Apartment windows floated inside puddles. Train tracks shone beneath station lights. Everything appeared softer, less certain, as though the boundary between sleeping and waking had become thinner. The girl liked those nights best. Tonight was one of them. A steady rain had fallen since sunset. Not heavy, not dramatic, simply patient, the sort of rain that seemed capable of continuing forever. Shortly after midnight, she crossed a narrow bridge above a canal in eastern Tokyo. Water moved quietly beneath her. Streetlights shimmered across its surface. Far away, a train passed through the darkness. Its windows glowed briefly between buildings, then vanished. The city felt half asleep. The girl paused near the center of the bridge. Something drifted across the water below. A dream. Small, faint, silver in color. She leaned against the railing and watched it float beneath the bridge. Most dreams appeared as fragments. A door, a flower, a forgotten melody. This one contained only the image of a red umbrella standing alone beside a railway platform. Nothing unusual. She gently gathered it. The silver light dissolved into her hands. Another dream saved. Another memory returned to wherever such things belonged. The girl smiled faintly, then continued walking through the rain. She did not yet know that before dawn, she would discover something impossible. Not a nightmare, not a ghost, not a lost memory. Something far stranger, a dream that belonged to nobody. And in all the years she had spent wandering through sleeping cities, she had never encountered such a thing before. The first sign appeared near a train station. The girl arrived shortly after 1 in the morning. Rain whispered softly against the station roof. Only a handful of passengers remained. Most hurried toward taxis. Others disappeared into side streets carrying umbrellas that glowed beneath the station lights. The final train had already departed. Silence slowly settled across the platform. The girl walked along the edge of the station square. Several dreams drifted nearby. One rested beneath a vending machine. Another floated above a bicycle rack. A third moved lazily through the rain like a paper lantern caught in a gentle breeze. Ordinary dreams. Forgotten dreams. the sort she encountered every night. She gathered them one by one. The station clock showed 1:17 a.m. The rain continued. For a while, nothing unusual happened. Then she noticed a light near the far end of the platform. At first she assumed it was another dream. The color was familiar, soft, pale, almost silver. Yet something about it felt different. The girl stopped walking. The light remained motionless. Most dreams wandered. They drifted through streets, floated above rooftops, moved with the wind. This one stayed exactly where it was, waiting. Beyond the platform stood an empty bench. The light hovered above it. The girl slowly approached. Rainwater shimmered across the pavement. Station lights reflected in long golden streaks. The city beyond the tracks seemed distant and dreamlike. When she finally reached the bench, she found herself staring at something she could not immediately understand. A dream, and yet not a dream. Within the pale light, images shifted slowly. A railway platform, a red umbrella, a boy waiting alone beneath falling rain. The images repeated endlessly, again and again and again. The girl watched quietly. Most dreams changed constantly. Scenes appeared and vanished. Memories blended together. This one remained perfectly clear, as though it wanted to be remembered. The boy never moved. The umbrella never closed. The train never arrived. The same moment repeated without end. The girl carefully reached toward the light. The instant her fingers touched it, a strange sensation passed through her. Not sadness, not fear, not joy. Something harder to describe. Absence. The feeling of a missing page inside a book. A space where something should have existed. She withdrew her hand immediately. Rain tapped softly against the station roof. The platform remained empty. The dream continued replaying its impossible scene. For the first time in many years, the girl felt uncertain. Every dream belonged to someone. That was one of the few things she knew with absolute certainty. A sleeping child, an office worker, a grandmother, a student, a traveler. Someone always existed at the beginning of the dream. Someone always dreamed it. Without a dreamer, a dream could not exist. Yet as she watched the pale light hovering above the bench, she felt nothing. No sleeping mind, no distant memory, no connection leading back toward a dreamer. Only emptiness. The dream existed, but its owner did not. The realization should have been impossible. Yet the longer she stood there, the more certain she became. Rain drifted across the platform. A train signal blinked quietly in the distance. The city slept, and beneath the station lights, the impossible dream waited. For several minutes, neither moved. The girl simply watched. The dream simply repeated. The boy, the umbrella, the empty platform, the train that never arrived. Then something happened. For the first time, the scene changed. Only slightly, but enough. The boy slowly turned his head, not toward the tracks, not toward the rain, toward her. The girl froze. Dreams did not do that. Dreams could not see her. Yet within the pale light, the boy appeared to be looking directly at her. And then, for a brief moment, he smiled. The image vanished. Darkness returned. The station became silent once more. Only a single silver fragment remained floating above the bench. Small enough to fit within her palm, the girl carefully picked it up. The fragment glowed softly against the rain, and somewhere deep inside it, she could feel a question waiting to be answered. Before dawn arrived, she would follow that question across the sleeping city, and before the night ended, she would discover a dream that should never have existed at all. The silver fragment remained warm within her hands. Not physically warm. Dreams did not possess temperature. Yet the sensation lingered, as though the fragment contained a small heartbeat hidden somewhere beneath its light. The girl left the station and stepped back into the rain. The city stretched quietly before her. Rows of apartment buildings stood beneath pale streetlights. Traffic signals changed for empty intersections. Vending machines glowed alone beside sleeping roads. Far above, office towers shone against low clouds. Tokyo never truly slept. It merely dreamed differently after midnight. The girl walked without hurry. The fragment drifted beside her. Usually, when she collected a lost dream, it grew fainter with time. Once separated from its dreamer, a dream slowly returned to silence. This one did the opposite. Its light seemed stronger now, more certain, more alive. Every few moments, the images inside it appeared again. The railway platform, the red umbrella, the waiting boy, the train that never arrived, always the same, always repeating. The girl watched carefully. Dreams rarely repeated themselves so perfectly. Even memories changed, even imagination wandered, yet this fragment remained fixed, like a story refusing to move forward. Rain tapped softly against a row of parked bicycles. The girl passed a convenience store glowing beneath fluorescent lights. Inside, a tired employee arranged shelves while soft music played overhead. Ordinary life continued. People worked, people slept, people dreamed, and somewhere among millions of sleeping minds, this impossible fragment had appeared. Or perhaps it hadn't. That thought returned again. The unsettling possibility that no dreamer existed at all. The girl tried not to dwell on it. Instead, she focused on the fragment. Dreams often left traces, small clues, emotions, directions. If she remained patient, the dream would eventually reveal where it wished to go. They always did. At least, they always had before tonight. A narrow canal appeared between two buildings. The water reflected distant apartment lights. The girl paused beside the railing. The fragment drifted upward, then stopped. For a moment, nothing happened. Rain rippled across the canal below. A train crossed a bridge somewhere in the distance. Its sound echoed briefly through the night. Then the fragment brightened. The silver light unfolded like a flower opening. Images spilled outward across the water. Not one image. Many. Dozens. Hundreds. The girl stared silently. Dream fragments. Small pieces of forgotten places. A classroom illuminated by afternoon sunlight. A child chasing fireflies. A grandmother watering flowers. A seaside train station beneath summer skies. Moments appeared and vanished across the canal's surface. Beautiful. Ordinary. Countless lives reflected within the water. The girl had seen such things before. Lost dreams often carried memories with them. Yet something felt different. Every image vanished after only a second. Every image except one. The railway platform remained. The red umbrella remained. The waiting boy remained. While all other memories faded away, that single scene endured, as though it existed separately from the rest. As though it belonged to another world entirely. The fragment dimmed. The water returned to darkness. The girl remained motionless. A faint feeling had settled inside her. Recognition. Not certainty. Not memory. Only the sense that she had seen that platform before. Somewhere. At some time. Long ago. The feeling disappeared almost immediately. Yet it left a question behind. Where? She could not remember. And somehow, that troubled her more than the dream itself. The girl resumed walking. The fragment followed. Ahead, rain drifted through the glow of distant streetlights. The city remained calm, patient, silent. Yet somewhere beyond the sleeping buildings, she felt the dream pulling gently forward. Not toward a person, not toward a memory, toward a place. And for the first time that night, she began following it. The city became quieter as the night deepened. By 2 o'clock, even the convenience stores seemed calmer. The roads carried fewer cars. The apartment windows grew darker. Only scattered lights remained across the endless landscape of buildings. The girl followed the silver fragment through streets she knew well. For years, she had wandered these neighborhoods after midnight. She knew which bakeries began preparing bread before dawn. She knew which station platforms remained busy until morning. She knew where dreams often gathered. Certain places attracted them: bridges, train stations, rivers, rooftops. Dreams seemed drawn toward places where people paused between destinations, places that felt unfinished, places that belonged neither entirely to one thing nor another. The fragment led her toward one such place, an old pedestrian walkway crossing several railway tracks. The structure connected two neighborhoods divided by train lines. During the day, hundreds of people crossed it without thought. At night, it felt completely different. The city stretched endlessly in both directions. Rails disappeared into darkness. Signals blinked red and green across the distance. The girl climbed the stairs slowly. Rain softened into a fine mist. Below her, empty tracks reflected station lights. The silver fragment floated ahead. Its glow remained steady, patient, waiting. At the center of the walkway, it stopped. The girl joined it. For several moments, nothing happened. Only the sound of distant trains echoed through the sleeping city. Then the fragment brightened once more. Silver lights spilled outward. Not across water this time. Across the air itself. The mist surrounding the bridge shimmered softly. Shapes began forming within it. A station. Not the station she had visited earlier. A different one. Older. Smaller. The platform appeared worn by countless seasons. Wooden benches lined the waiting area. Old lamps glowed beneath the rain. Flowers grew beside the tracks. Everything looked strangely familiar. The girl watched silently. The image felt less like a dream and more like a memory. Yet she knew she had never visited such a place. The vision expanded. The railway platform emerged fully from the mist. For a brief moment, it seemed almost real. She could nearly hear rain striking the station roof. Nearly smell wet wood. Nearly feel the cool night air surrounding it. Then she saw the boy again. He sat quietly on a bench. The red umbrella rested beside him. Unlike before, he wasn't waiting for a train. He appeared to be watching something, or someone. The girl followed his gaze. At the far end of the platform stood another figure. The image blurred immediately. The face could not be seen. The details vanished before they could form. Only a silhouette remained, a person standing beneath the rain. The station lights flickered. The vision dissolved. The walkway returned. The tracks below remained empty. The mist drifted harmlessly through the darkness. Yet the girl's attention remained fixed on one detail. There had been someone else. Until now, the dream had always shown the boy alone. Tonight, for the first time, another person had appeared. The dream was changing, or perhaps it was remembering. The thought lingered. Dreams often faded over time. They rarely became clearer. This one seemed to be doing exactly that, as though each passing hour revealed another piece of a forgotten story. The silver fragment dimmed once more. Its light softened, almost tired. The girl gently held it between her hands. The fragment responded immediately. A faint pulse traveled through the silver glow, like gratitude or relief, as though it knew it was finally being followed. The girl smiled faintly, then looked across the endless city. Thousands of dreams drifted through the darkness beyond the rooftops. Most would disappear before morning. Most would never be remembered. Yet this dream refused to fade. It wanted something. Not attention, not preservation. Something else. Something unfinished. A story still waiting to reach its ending. The rain continued falling softly over Tokyo, and somewhere beyond the sleeping districts and glowing stations, the fragment pulled once again toward a place the girl had never visited, toward a memory that should not exist, toward the answer hidden inside the dream that belonged to nobody. Shortly before 3 in the morning, the rain began to change. The steady rainfall that had covered the city all night became lighter. The clouds remained overhead, but the storm seemed quieter now. almost thoughtful. The girl followed the silver fragment through a district she rarely visited. The buildings grew older. The streets became narrower. Small workshops stood between apartment blocks. Closed cafes slept beneath striped awnings. Flower pots rested outside darkened homes. The city felt different here. Not abandoned, simply forgotten. The sort of neighborhood that remained unchanged while the rest of Tokyo moved forward. The fragment drifted confidently. It no longer wandered. It seemed to know exactly where it wished to go. The girl followed. Past a small shrine hidden between buildings. Past a row of vending machines humming softly in the darkness. Past an empty playground where rainwater collected beneath swings. Eventually the road ended. Ahead stood a railway crossing. The barrier remained raised. No warning bell sounded. No trains approached. Beyond the tracks, another street continued into the distance. The fragment stopped. The girl waited. For several moments, nothing happened. Then the silver light brightened. The world seemed to exhale. The air became strangely still. Even the rain appeared to pause. The railway crossing before her shimmered softly. The tracks remained. The signal lights remained. The road remained. Yet something else appeared beyond them. A platform. The girl stared. An entire railway platform stood where no platform had existed seconds before. Not a dream image. Not a reflection. A place. The station emerged slowly from the darkness as though it had always been there. Wooden benches. Old lanterns. A station clock glowing beneath the roof. Flowers beside the tracks. The very station she had seen within the dream. The girl remained motionless. She knew Tokyo's railway system well. Years of wandering through the city had taught her countless routes and stations. This station did not belong to any of them, and yet it stood before her, quiet, patient, waiting. The silver fragment floated toward it immediately, without hesitation, as though it had finally arrived home. The girl crossed the tracks. Rain whispered softly against the station roof. No station name appeared anywhere. No maps. No signs. No schedules. Only silence. She stepped onto the platform. The air felt different here. Not magical. Not frightening. Only distant. As though the station existed slightly apart from the rest of the city. Like a memory that had somehow become a place. The platform stretched into darkness. A single lantern glowed beside a bench. Nothing moved. Nothing spoke. The station appeared completely empty. Then the girl noticed something strange. Dreams. Hundreds of them. Tiny fragments of silver light drifted throughout the station. More than she had ever seen in one place. They rested beneath benches. Floated beneath the roof. Gathered near the tracks. Countless forgotten dreams sleeping quietly in the darkness. The sight took her breath away. For years she had believed lost dreams simply faded. Yet here they were. Not gone. Not destroyed. Waiting. Preserved. Safe. The station seemed to collect them. Like a harbor gathering ships during a storm. The girl walked slowly along the platform. Everywhere she looked, forgotten dreams drifted peacefully through the air. A child learning to ride a bicycle. A summer festival beneath lanterns. A snowy mountain path. A classroom after sunset. Thousands of lives. Thousands of moments. Dreams the world had forgotten. And at the far end of the platform, waiting beneath a single lantern, sat the boy with the red umbrella, exactly as he had appeared inside the dream. For a moment, neither moved. The rain continued falling beyond the station roof. The lantern glowed softly between them, and for the second time that night, the impossible dream looked directly at her. The boy appeared no older than 12. He sat quietly upon the bench. The red umbrella rested beside him. Rainwater shimmered beyond the edge of the platform. A lantern above cast warm light across the wooden boards. The scene looked exactly as it had inside the dream, and yet now it felt real. The girl remained where she was. The boy remained seated. Neither spoke. The station seemed to prefer silence. For a while, only the sound of distant rainfall filled the darkness. The countless dreams drifting throughout the platform moved gently in the air around them, like fireflies, like floating stars, like pieces of sleeping worlds gathered together in one forgotten place. The girl slowly approached. The boy watched her calmly. There was no fear in his expression, no surprise, almost as though he had been expecting her. That feeling unsettled her more than anything else that night. Dreams did not wait for people. Dreams did not expect visitors. Yet this one somehow had. When she reached the bench, she stopped several steps away. The boy's eyes moved toward the silver fragment floating beside her. For the first time, the fragment reacted. Its light brightened immediately. The glow became softer, warmer, like sunlight reflected through water. The boy smiled faintly, not the smile of someone greeting a stranger, the smile of someone recognizing an old friend. The girl felt an unexpected sadness pass through her, a sadness without source, a feeling that belonged to the station itself. The platform, the lantern, the rain, everything seemed wrapped in quiet longing, as though this place had spent many years waiting for something or someone. The boy slowly turned his gaze toward the tracks. The girl followed. Nothing stood there. Only darkness. Only rain. Yet the boy continued watching. Patiently. Hopefully. The way someone watches for a train they believe will eventually arrive. The girl looked back toward him. The silver fragment drifted from her side. Slowly. Gently. Until it hovered before the boy. The light unfolded. Images emerged once more. The railway platform, the umbrella, the rain, the waiting. But now the scene continued beyond the moment where it had always ended before. The dream was revealing another piece. The girl watched carefully. The boy remained seated. Rain fell across the tracks. Minutes passed. Hours seemed to pass. The platform remained empty. Yet the boy never left, never moved, never stopped waiting. Then, at the far end of the station, someone appeared. Only a silhouette, the same figure she had glimpsed earlier within the dream. The image blurred immediately. The face remained impossible to see, yet the boy smiled. A genuine smile, bright enough to transform the entire dream. The figure took a single step forward. The dream shattered. Thousands of silver fragments scattered into the air. The station vanished. The umbrella vanished. The figure vanished. Only the real platform remained. The girl blinked. The vision was gone. The boy sat quietly upon the bench once more. But something had changed. For the first time since she arrived, he seemed tired. Not physically tired, the way a memory becomes tired after being carried for too long. The girl looked around the station. The forgotten dreams continued drifting peacefully through the darkness. A realization slowly formed. This place was not collecting dreams. It was protecting them. The dreams here were waiting, just as the boy was waiting. Waiting for something unfinished to find its ending. Waiting for a story to be remembered completely. The thought settled quietly inside her, and with it came another question, a more troubling one. If this station existed to shelter forgotten dreams, who had built it? Who maintained it? Who had gathered all these lost fragments together beneath the rain? The girl looked down the length of the platform. The lanterns glowed softly. The tracks disappeared into darkness. The station remained silent. Yet for the first time that night, she felt certain she was not alone here. Somewhere beyond the drifting dreams and distant rain, another presence lingered within the station, watching, waiting, patient as the night itself. And before dawn arrived, she knew she would have to find it. The station seemed larger after the vision faded. Not physically larger, only deeper, as though hidden layers had begun revealing themselves one by one. The girl left the bench behind and continued walking along the platform. The boy remained seated beneath the lantern, patiently watching the tracks, patiently waiting for someone who had never arrived. Or perhaps someone who had. The dream no longer felt simple. Each answer seemed to create another question. The rain continued beyond the station roof. Soft, endless. The kind of rain that made time feel slower. The kind that encouraged memories to rise quietly to the surface. The girl moved past clusters of forgotten dreams. They drifted gently through the darkness around her. One contained a summer beach. Another carried the smell of fresh bread from a childhood bakery. A third held nothing but the sound of wind moving through tall grass. Countless lives, countless moments. Small pieces of people scattered throughout the sleeping world. None appeared sad. That surprised her. She had always imagined forgotten dreams disappearing alone. Yet here they seemed peaceful, almost content, as though this strange station had become a resting place for things no longer remembered. Farther along the platform, the lanterns became fewer. The shadows deepened. The dreams thinned. The station felt older here, more distant. The wooden boards creaked softly beneath her footsteps. At the very end of the platform stood a small building. The structure resembled an old station office. Warm light glowed behind its windows. The girl stopped. For several seconds she simply watched. The light remained steady. Someone was inside. A strange feeling settled over her. Not fear. Expectation. The same feeling she experienced moments before opening a forgotten book, or standing before a door that had remained closed for many years. The girl stepped forward. Rain whispered against the roof. The station remained silent behind her. When she reached the building, she noticed something unusual. Dreams covered the walls. Not physically. They appeared more like reflections. Faint images drifting across the windows. A child flying above clouds. A train crossing a field of flowers. A mountain floating among stars. Thousands upon thousands of forgotten dreams moved across the glass. The building seemed to breathe with them, as though every dream passing through the station eventually arrived here. The girl slowly opened the door. A small bell rang softly. Warm air greeted her immediately. The room beyond resembled neither an office nor a station. It looked more like a library. Shelves lined every wall. Countless glass jars filled the room. Large jars, small jars, round jars, tall jars. Each contained a faint silver glow. Dreams, thousands of them. The sight left her speechless. The room stretched far beyond what should have been possible. Rows of shelves disappeared into soft golden light. Endless, quiet, beautiful. The forgotten dreams of countless people resting peacefully within glass. The girl stepped inside. The door closed behind her. The bell chimed once more. For several moments, nothing happened. Then she noticed someone standing near the far end of the room. An old man. He wore a simple dark coat. His hair was silver. His posture relaxed. One hand rested upon a ladder position beside the shelves. The man appeared completely ordinary, yet the room itself seemed to gather round him, as though he belonged to the station in the same way rain belonged to clouds. The old man carefully placed a glowing jar onto a shelf, then turned toward her. His expression carried neither surprise nor curiosity, only kindness. The sort of kindness found in people who have spent many years listening. For a long moment, neither spoke. The library remained quiet. Dreamlight drifted softly through the air. Then the old man looked toward the silver fragment floating beside her, and for the first time, that night, someone besides the girl seemed to recognize it immediately. His calm expression changed, only slightly, yet enough. Enough for her to understand. The old man knew exactly what she was carrying, and somehow that worried him. The old man remained silent for several moments. His gaze rested upon the silver fragment drifting beside the girl. The warm light filling the library seemed softer now. The countless jars lining the shelves glowed quietly in the darkness. Around them floated thousands of sleeping dreams, yet neither paid attention to them. The fragment had become the center of the room. The old man slowly approached. His footsteps barely made a sound. The girl noticed something unusual. Every dream drifting nearby seemed to move aside for him. Not out of fear, out of familiarity, like birds parting for a gentle breeze. The old man stopped beside the fragment. For a long while he simply observed it. Then he sighed. Not heavily, not sadly, only the sigh of someone discovering an old problem had returned. The girl waited. Eventually, the old man reached out his hand. The fragment settled into his palm. Its silver light brightened immediately. The old man closed his eyes. The room became still. Dreamlight drifted through the air. Rain whispered against distant windows. The station beyond remained silent. When the old man finally opened his eyes again, something had changed. A memory seemed to have surfaced within him. A very old one. "You found it." His voice was soft, almost lost beneath the sound of rain. The girl blinked. The words surprised her. Not because he had spoken, because of what he had said. Not a "what is this?" Not a "where did you find it?" Simply "you found it." As though he had been expecting it all along. The fragment floated upward once more, slowly turning in the warm golden air. The old man watched it carefully. There should be no dreams without dreamers. The girl nodded. That much she already knew. The old man looked toward the endless shelves surrounding them. Thousands of glowing jars stretched into the distance. Every dream comes from someone. His voice remained calm. A child, a traveler, a grandmother, a student. Someone sleeps, someone dreams, someone wakes. The girl listened quietly. The old man paused, then looked back toward the fragment. Except this one. The room felt strangely colder, not physically, only emotionally, the way certain memories could cool a room without changing its temperature. The old man walked slowly toward a nearby shelf. He removed a small glass jar. Unlike the others, it contained no light, only darkness. The girl watched silently. The jar looked empty, yet the old man held it carefully, almost respectfully. There was once another. The girl's attention sharpened immediately. Another dream without a dreamer. The old man nodded. As impossible as that sounds, he placed the empty jar upon a wooden table. The library remained silent. Thousands of forgotten dreams drifted through distant aisles. The rain continued. The old man looked toward the ceiling as though searching through decades of memory. When a dream loses its dream, he paused. It fades. When a dream is forgotten, it comes here. The girl already knew that much. The station, the library, the jars. Everything suddenly made more sense. The old man smiled faintly. Then his expression became thoughtful once more. But once every very long while his eyes returned to the fragment. A dream arrives from a life that never happened. The words settled quietly into the room. The girl felt a strange stillness pass through her. A life that never happened. The phrase seemed impossible, yet somehow it felt right. The old man continued. Most possibilities disappear before they are ever noticed. A conversation never spoken. A journey never taken. A person never met. His voice remained calm. The world is filled with roads that were never walked. The fragment brightened, as though listening. As a rule, those possibilities vanish. The old man looked directly at the silver light. Yet sometimes one leaves behind a dream. The girl stared at the fragment. The railway platform. The red umbrella. The waiting boy. The impossible dream. Suddenly everything felt different. Not a dream from the past. Not a dream from the future. A dream from a life that never existed at all. The realization carried no fear, only sadness. A quiet sadness, like hearing a beautiful song that had ended before it truly began. The old man gently touched the floating fragment. The dream unfolded once more. The station appeared. The umbrella appeared. The boy appeared. And this time, as the scene expanded around them, the girl noticed something she had never seen before. Beyond the platform, beyond the rain, beyond the waiting tracks, another railway line stretched into the distance. faint, almost invisible, leading somewhere far beyond the station. The old man's expression softened. He had noticed it too. For several moments neither spoke. Then he whispered something so quietly that it almost disappeared into the rain. "It is remembering." The girl looked toward him. The old man continued watching the dream, and for the first time that night, genuine concern appeared within his eyes, because whatever the dream was remembering, it was getting closer. The dream remained suspended above the wooden table. Silver light drifted softly through the library. The railway platform shimmered within the fragment. The rain continued falling. The boy continued waiting. And beyond the station, the faint railway line stretched endlessly into the distance. The girl could not stop looking at it. She had seen the dream many times already. The umbrella, the platform, the lanterns, the waiting boy. Yet somehow she had never noticed the second railway. Now it seemed impossible to ignore. The line disappeared beyond the horizon of the dream, farther than the station, farther than the rain, farther than the world itself. The old man watched silently. His expression had grown thoughtful, almost troubled. The girl understood why. The dream was changing again, not rapidly, not dramatically, simply remembering more of itself. Like fog slowly lifting from a landscape, the old man walked toward a nearby shelf. He removed another jar. This one contained a pale blue dream. Soft light drifted within the glass. The dream looked peaceful, comfortable, familiar. The old man placed it beside the fragment. Immediately, the blue dream brightened. The silver fragment responded. For a brief moment, both lights touched, like old friends recognizing one another. Then the blue dream dimmed once more. The old man nodded quietly. As a thought, the girl waited. The old man gently returned the blue jar to its shelf. "Dreams remember each other." His voice remained calm. "More often than people do." The girl glanced around the library. Thousands of dreams filled the endless shelves. Each dream belonging to a different life, a different person, a different memory. The thought felt overwhelming. The old man continued. "Most dreams pass through this station once. Then they fade, or return." The girl looked toward the silver fragment. "And this one?" The old man remained silent for several seconds. Then he answered, "This one keeps searching." The words settled heavily into the room. The girl watched the fragment. Searching. For what? For whom? The old man seemed to understand the question before she asked it. His eyes drifted toward the dream. Toward the waiting boy. Toward the endless railway. Every dream wants something. A wish. A memory. A hope. He paused. A destination. The railway line shimmered faintly. The old man sighed. "I believe this dream is trying to return somewhere." The girl felt a small chill. Not fear. Wonder. A dream trying to return home. The idea sounded impossible. Yet tonight had already been filled with impossible things. The fragment brightened once more. The library lights dimmed slightly. The air itself seemed to grow softer. The dream unfolded, larger than before. The railway platform emerged around them. The rain returned. The lanterns glowed. The boy sat beneath their warm light. Yet this time something else appeared. A train, far away, barely visible. A single light moving through darkness. The girl stared. The old man stared. The train remained impossibly distant. Yet it existed. The dream had never shown a train before. Not once. The boy stood. For the first time. Slowly. Quietly, as though afraid the vision might disappear. The red umbrella remained beside the bench, forgotten. The train moved closer. The rails hummed faintly. The station lights flickered. The dream trembled. The old man's expression changed immediately. The concern returned. Stronger than before, the train continued approaching. Yet something felt wrong. Not dangerous, only sad. terribly sad, like the final page of a story nearing its end. The old man looked toward the girl. For the first time that night, uncertainty appeared within his eyes. Because if the train reached the station, whatever happened next would happen for the first time in a very long while, perhaps for the first time ever. And neither of them knew what the dream had been waiting all these years to find. The train remained distant, a single light moving through endless darkness. The station within the dream seemed to hold its breath. The rain continued falling. The lanterns glowed softly beneath the roof, and for the first time since the girl had discovered the impossible dream, the waiting was beginning to end. The boy stood motionless near the edge of the platform, watching, listening, hoping. The silver dream expanded once more. The library around them faded slightly. The station became clearer, more detailed, more real. The old man stepped closer. His attention never left the dream. Neither did the girls. The train slowly approached, yet before it could arrive, the dream changed again. Images appeared around the station, not memories. Not exactly. Possibilities. The girl watched silently. A small apartment filled with morning sunlight, a school uniform hanging beside a doorway, a birthday cake surrounded by laughter, a bicycle leaning against a garden fence. Ordinary moments, beautiful moments, simple moments. One after another they drifted through the dream, fragments of a life. The old man's expression softened. He understood immediately. The girl did not. Not yet. The images continued. A classroom, a summer festival, a first snowfall, a family photograph, a train ride beside the sea. Countless small moments passed before them, the sort of moments people rarely remembered, the sort of moments that quietly became a life. Then the girl realized something. The boy appeared in every image, older each time, growing, living, becoming. The dream was showing a future, or perhaps a past, a life that should have existed. The old man spoke quietly. So this was his dream. The girl listened. Neither looked away from the silver light. The images continued flowing. The boy becoming a teenager, the teenager becoming a young man, the young man growing older, years passing gently through dreamlight. The station remained at the center of everything, always there, waiting. The railway, the rain, the lanterns, the place where the dream had begun. And then, just as suddenly, the images stopped. Silence returned. The station remained. The train continued approaching. The girl looked toward the old man. At last, she understood. The boy had never existed. Not truly. The life she had witnessed had never happened. Not because it ended, because it never began. A possibility. A road the world had never taken. Yet somehow, impossibly, a dream had remained. One dream, one final fragment, refusing to disappear. The old man nodded gently, as though answering the thought she had not spoken. Most possibilities fade. His voice was nearly lost beneath the rain. Most are forgotten before they ever form. The silver fragment drifted higher, but every very long while the old man smiled sadly. One wishes to be remembered. The girl watched the waiting boy. For the first time, she no longer saw mystery. She saw a loneliness, not the loneliness of being abandoned, the loneliness of never being given the chance to exist. The realization filled the station with quiet sorrow, not painful sorrow, the kind found inside beautiful stories, the kind that lingered gently in the heart. The train drew closer, its distant light now visible through the rainfall. The rails hummed softly. The platform lanterns flickered. The boy continued watching, patient as ever, hopeful as ever, as though he had always believed the train would arrive eventually, no matter how long it took. The old man looked toward the approaching light. His expression carried something unexpected. Relief, not concern, not fear. Relief. The girl noticed it immediately. The old man had been worried earlier. Now that worry seemed to be fading. because he finally understood what the dream wanted. Not a dreamer, not a memory, not an explanation, only an ending. The station grew brighter. The silver dream shimmered like moonlight upon water. And somewhere beyond the rain, the train that had spent years traveling through forgotten possibilities was finally nearing the platform where a boy had waited for a life that never came. Soon the waiting would be over. The train arrived without sound. No whistle echoed through the rain. No brakes sang against the rails. The station simply became brighter. And then it was there. A silver train emerging from darkness. Its windows glowed softly. Warm lights spilled across the platform. The rain shimmered around it like falling stars. The girl watched in silence. The old man stood beside her. Neither spoke. Some moments felt complete enough without words. The train rolled slowly into the station. Its reflection stretched across the wet rails. The lanterns flickered gently. The waiting boy remained motionless. For a moment, everything seemed suspended between one heartbeat and the next. Then the train stopped. The doors opened. Warm light drifted outward. The platform remained silent. No passengers stepped off. No conductor appeared. Only stillness. Only rain. Only the soft glow spilling from the train's interior. The boy stared at the open doorway. The girl felt her chest tighten, not from sadness, from understanding. The train had finally arrived, the thing he had waited for all this time, the thing he had never stopped believing would come. Slowly, the boy picked up his red umbrella, the familiar umbrella that had appeared within every fragment of the dream, the umbrella that had become part of the mystery itself. For a brief moment, he looked back across the platform, not toward the girl, not toward the old man, toward the station, toward the lanterns, toward the rain, toward the dream that had sheltered him for so long. A faint smile appeared upon his face. Then he began walking, one step, then another. The platform seemed brighter with every movement. Around him, forgotten dreams drifted through the air, thousands of them. Summer evenings, winter mornings, lost conversations, childhood memories. Countless possibilities gathered beneath the station roof. The dreams moved gently around him, like leaves carried by a soft wind, like silent companions seeing a traveler home. The boy reached the train. He paused beside the doorway. The rain continued falling beyond the platform. The city remained far away. The library remained hidden. The station stood between worlds, between memories, between possibilities. The girl suddenly realized something. The train had never been carrying passengers. It was carrying endings. The endings forgotten dreams never received. The endings unfinished stories searched for. The endings lost possibilities waited patiently to find. The realization filled her with unexpected peace. The old man smiled quietly. He seemed to have reached the same understanding long ago. The boy stepped aboard. The silver dream trembled. Lights spread throughout the station. The rails glowed softly. The lanterns brightened. For a brief moment, the entire platform seemed made of memory and moonlight. The girl watched the train windows. Inside, she could see countless reflections. Not people. Possibilities, lives, roads not taken, journeys never begun, dreams that had once existed only for a moment, all of them traveling together through the darkness. The train doors remained open, waiting, as though offering one final chance for the station itself to say goodbye. The rain fell softly, the lanterns glowed warmly, and the boy stood quietly within the doorway, holding his red umbrella, looking back one last time at the world that had remembered him. For several moments, nothing moved. The boy stood within the doorway. The train waited. The rain continued falling beyond the station roof. The girl felt as though the entire night had gathered into this single moment. Every forgotten dream, every drifting fragment, every silent hour spent beneath rain-soaked skies. All of it had led here. The boy's gaze slowly moved across the platform. The lanterns, the benches, the tracks, the place that had protected him through countless nights. His expression carried no sadness, only gratitude. The kind of gratitude that appears when a long journey finally reaches its destination. Then something unexpected happened. The dreams surrounding the station began to glow. One by one, thousands of lights brightened throughout the darkness. Silver, blue, gold, soft colors drifting beneath the roof. The forgotten dreams seemed to awaken. Not fully, only enough to witness what was happening. The girl watched in silence. The station itself appeared transformed. The shadows retreated. The rain shimmered. The air filled with gentle light. It felt less like a railway station now, more like a night sky brought down to earth. The boy smiled, and for the first time, he no longer looked lonely. The girl realized why. For years, perhaps longer, he had feared disappearing, not dying, not leaving, being forgotten. The dream had survived because it wanted one thing above all else: to be seen, to be remembered, not forever, just once, long enough to know it had mattered, long enough to know it had existed. The realization settled quietly inside her. How many dreams wished for the same thing? How many memories? How many possibilities? Perhaps more than anyone realized. The train lights brightened. The journey was about to continue. The boy gently lifted the red umbrella. Then, with a small movement, he placed it beside the doorway. The umbrella remained behind. The girl watched carefully. The old man smiled, a true smile this time. The boy no longer needed it. The umbrella had belonged to the waiting. The waiting was over. The boy stepped fully inside the train. The doors began to close. Slowly, gently, like the final page of a beloved book. The girl felt no sorrow, only peace. The train started moving. The wheels rolled quietly across the rails. Light flowed through the station. The countless streams surrounding the platform drifted upward, toward the night sky, toward distant places beyond sight, toward whatever waited at the end of forgotten journeys. The train gathered speed. The silver light became smaller. Farther away, the boy remained visible through one of the windows. For a brief moment, he looked toward the station, toward the girl, toward the old man. Then he smiled once more, and the train disappeared into the darkness beyond the rain. Silence returned. The platform became still. The lanterns glowed softly. The rails stretched quietly into the distance. The impossible dream was gone. The station seemed lighter somehow, as though a long-held burden had finally been released. The girl stood beneath the lanterns, listening to the rain, listening to the silence that followed. The old man joined her. Neither spoke for a while. Words felt unnecessary. Eventually, the girl noticed something near the platform edge. The red umbrella, left behind. The same umbrella from the dream. She approached slowly. The umbrella looked ordinary, weathered by years of rain. Nothing magical about it, nothing impossible. Yet when she touched the handle, a faint warmth remained, a final trace of the dream that had carried it. The girl smiled, then carefully placed the umbrella beneath the lantern. A simple place, a peaceful place, a place where memories could rest. Beyond the station roof, the eastern sky had begun to brighten, almost imperceptibly. The first signs of dawn were arriving, and somewhere far beyond the sleeping city, a train carried a forgotten possibility toward a destination it had spent years searching for. At last, it had been remembered. At last, it could continue its journey. By the time the girl left the station, dawn had begun touching the edges of the sky. The rain had almost stopped. Only a light mist remained drifting above rooftops and railway lines. The city was waking, slowly, patiently. Apartment windows brightened one by one. Early trains began moving through distant neighborhoods. The first bicycles appeared upon quiet streets. Tokyo stretched and opened its eyes. The girl walked alone beneath the fading night. The station behind her seemed smaller now, more distant, as though it belonged to another world, or perhaps another dream. The silver fragment was gone. The impossible dream had finally completed its journey, yet its memory remained, not as sadness, not as mystery, as something gentler. A reminder. The girl crossed the same canal she had visited hours earlier. Morning light shimmered across the water. The city reflected softly upon its surface. For a while, she stopped and watched. Dreams still drifted through the air around her. Small dreams, ordinary dreams. A child imagining a summer beach, a student dreaming of distant mountains, a baker dreaming of home. The familiar rhythm of the world had returned. The girl smiled, then resumed walking. The old man, the station, the boy with the red umbrella, all of them already felt strangely distant, like a dream remembered after waking. Yet one thought remained clear. The dream had never wanted to exist forever. It had never asked to become real. It had never asked to change the world. It had wanted something much simpler, to be remembered. Only once. The girl found it beautiful. Perhaps all dreams wanted the same thing. Perhaps all memories did. Not permanence, not immortality, only acknowledgement, only a brief moment of understanding before continuing onward. The city continued awakening around her. Shop shutters opened. Traffic lights changed. Morning trains crossed elevated tracks. Life moved forward, as it always did. Near her apartment building, the girl paused one final time. A small dream drifted above a garden wall, golden in color, warm as sunlight. The dream had become tangled among flowering branches during the night. The girl carefully gathered it. The golden light settled peacefully into her hands. Another dream found, another dream saved, another small story waiting to be returned. She looked toward the brightening sky. The clouds were beginning to break apart. Patches of pale blue appeared above the city. Somewhere far away, a train whistle echoed briefly across the morning. The sound lingered, then faded. The girl smiled to herself. For a moment, she imagined a silver train traveling beyond distant horizons, carrying forgotten possibilities, carrying unfinished endings, carrying a boy with a red umbrella toward a place where waiting no longer existed. The thought felt comforting, not because she believed it, because she hoped it, and sometimes hope mattered just as much. The girl climbed the stairs to her apartment. The night was over. Another collection complete. Another mystery carried gently into memory. Beyond the window, the city shone beneath the first light of day. Dreams faded. Morning arrived. And somewhere within the endless sleeping world, countless new dreams had already begun. The girl would find them tomorrow night, and the night after that, and the night after that, as she always had, as she always would. Outside, the last raindrops slipped quietly from the rooftops. The city breathed, the morning brightened, and the dream that belonged to nobody drifted peacefully into silence.